let's rewind first. Because we don't actually, when you think about it, fear the change. You can look at many times in your past and in your life when you did change, you went through a change, whether you accepted it or you were forced through it, and it was better on the other side. But that is the fear that we have. What is on the other side of change? Welcome to a solo episode where we tackle difficult situations, difficult mindsets, and overcome them. Things that are holding us back essentially as humans from being the best person, the best quote unquote cliche version of ourselves that we can possibly be, but ultimately living a life that we enjoy, a life of more fulfillment. And there is one daunting word that holds the majority of us back, 65% to be exact, in a study done, and this is change. The biggest fear that we have as humans is change. But let's rewind first. Because we don't actually, when you think about it, fear the change. You can look at many times in your past and in your life when you did change, you went through a change, whether you accepted it or you were forced through it, and it was better on the other side. But that is the fear that we have. What is on the other side of change? Without knowing it, without physically being able to grasp what is on the other side of change, it becomes uncertainty, the uncertainty of the results of change. That's why we fear it. But really, we fear the transition. I looked up some stats on this. Check this out. This is incredible. 31% of adults worldwide have more confidence based on clear skin. 31, that's almost 1/3 of people. Like, hey, you got clear skin, you're more confident. Get this, better looking people, meaning of just the term, the clear skin is we're putting that with, earn 12% more financially over their lifetime. 12% more? That literally could be millions of dollars. You are investing a lot into the lab, into the science, into the research. It is so far a no-brainer why anybody would use anything else other than OneSkin. Like, is there anything like you can even think of that makes sense? Like, I'm trying to, and I can't. I want to say, out of the kindness of your guys' heart, you are providing for our listeners a special pricing code, which will be in the show notes. So look in the show notes to try out OneSkin for yourself.
Strongly recommend to subscribe to our newsletter. We want to empower everyone because we know that the choices that we are making today will definitely impact how you're gonna age tomorrow.
The difficult parts when you are changing who you are, your environment, when you're changing habits, when you're getting into the best shape of your life and you can't necessarily eat the same things that you always did. When you're changing your frame of mind and looking things on the positive perspective and you're throwing out negative words. When you're taking away the people who have brought you down in your life and you are cutting them out of your life or not talking to them as much, the change is different. When you're moving to a new place, there's going to be struggles. That is the transition. So how this is going on in the brain. Let's break this down first. The amygdala is the area of our brain that is in charge of processing fear. Interestingly enough, the amygdala also is the reward center. So in our brains, this little almond-shaped amygdala, small as it might be, is in charge of processing fear, and it is also in processing reward. So as you can see, there is no ultimate reward without going through fear, without going through the fear of change to get to the reward, and they work hand in hand. But often we never get to that reward feeling because we are afraid to make the change. We are afraid to embrace the transition. Let me just read you a little note from this book, Do It. An action animal of one of the archetypes, the blamer, is the butterfly. Now, we know that the butterfly goes through an incredible transition, and it starts off as a caterpillar. But what most people don't know is how many times it goes through this transformation process where it releases a hormone called ecdysone when it's growing in the skin, going through that transformation in what's called the cocoon. The caterpillar has to go through this process 5 times. That feeling when you are just recharged, you don't have any sickness, no ailments, you have full optimal energy, you are functioning at your highest level. You want to recreate that? Yeah, sure, you do, I do, we all do. And then you can times it by 10. What I'm about to tell you is going to blow your mind. So hold on here. This is real. Hyperbaric chamber. If you don't know what it is, look it up right now. Look up Eleve Health, ELEVE health.com. It's an oxygen miracle. What it is, HBOT, the hyperbaric chamber. It's a simple and non-invasive therapy where you go into this. It places a body in a pressurized environment that allows extra oxygen to dissolve in the blood plasma and travel freely throughout your circulatory system, getting more red blood cells flowing naturally to the body's function. It's going to help you kill off any harmful bacteria. It's going to help you detox, increase your oxygen concentration, resist and fight infection, heal wounds faster, improve oxygen supply, reduce swelling, stop infection, lower inflammation, all while you're relaxing in the chamber. I kid you not. This is what the pros, the top Olympic athletes, what everybody uses for the highest optimization recovery. This is called Hyperbaric Chamber, HBOT, from Eleve Health, ELEVE health.com. Message me separately, too, if you want to get a specific deal on this. Check it out as you're a sports team, if you're an individual, if you're just somebody who loves optimization. It will be an absolute life changer for you. Interesting. 5 times until finally, the caterpillar is actually hanging upside down in that silky cocoon that we all see. Now, what this tells me is through nature, through seeing this action animal of the caterpillar's transition to a butterfly, it doesn't just happen with the snap of the fingers. It doesn't just happen one time. It takes 5 difficult times. Think about that in your own life. As you're going through change, it's very daunting, and you have to go through the transition process. It's not always going to be exactly like you planned. It's not always going to be super smooth. There will be roadblocks. There will be 5 times, maybe even more, that you fail, that you fall down, that you think, well, is this change even worth it? It is. That's the way you grow. That's the way that you continue to improve the life that you have. I mean, it's a interesting thing that we can take from this caterpillar that goes from this ugly little jiggly guy with a lot of legs 5 times into the cocoon and comes out as a beautiful butterfly. The stunning metamorphosis, the physical process of the transition. So I'm here to say and tell you and raise this point as we put Do It back on its shelf. Great book, by the way. If you want to change your life, you just take a little action. Do it. Shameless plug, of course. But instead of looking at the transition as something to fear, why not flip the script and look at it as a metamorphosis? You are a metamorphosis of who you are today, shedding that skin, that cocoon, to who you are going to be tomorrow. Change is hard. Yeah, it is. If you're fearful on what's on the other side of change. I mean, think about this. You would change your body. It takes 1% steps daily. It doesn't happen overnight. If you say, I have a goal and I'm going to be someone who goes to the gym, lives a healthy lifestyle, I'm going to get in the best shape of my life, and you're specific with what that looks like, those are 1% changes daily. This tool, the 1 step forward daily. And what this tool is to help you go through this transition process, all it is taking a step forward. When you wake up, when you get out of bed, you look down at your feet and you take 1 giant step forward. This is the trigger, the cue to your subconscious that you're taking a step forward towards your goals. You're having an action plan, a roadmap to get there. It's a very simple tool, but it's going to take time. It's going to take a long time. You can transform literally anything. Transform your physiology, your body, transform your psychology, your mind. You want to start living life in a more appreciative, gratitude, positive mind. Then you start saying words like that. You start taking out words like I can't, or I have to, or I won't, or I'm hoping, or I'm trying. Taking those words out and being aware of these words. tracking them, marking them down when you say them, making a tally in a notebook when you say them, and transferring these words to different, more positive words, changing your mind, changing your perspective, being someone who is a downward counterfactual thinker who looks at things of like, well, okay, it could have been worse. Now, what am I going to learn from it and how am I going to progress forward? As someone who's an upward counterfactual thinker who looks at it as like, oh, woe is me. The end is here. Something bad happened to my life. I'm never going to be able to get through that. We don't want to be that type of person. You don't want to be around that type of person. But that is somebody who fears change. We don't know what is on the other side of change. But I think that's exciting. I think that's what is exhilarating. If we all knew the day that we died, life wouldn't be as exciting. We would maybe do things a little bit differently, but we would keep counting down until that day came. We don't know that day. We don't know that uncertainty. Now, I know that doesn't really have a whole lot to do with change, and you probably don't have to, or you probably don't want to think about that, but it will happen. So the tool, the one step forward. Every morning when you wake up, when you get out of bed, try taking that one step forward. And you know what? Just having this understanding of it's the transition that you can embrace, that you can enjoy this process of the transition, this metamorphosis. It's kind of like having an ace up your sleeve. That's a mentality or a saying playing cards. Now, I'm not a big card player, but I know the ace up your sleeve means you have something that is going to help you win that others don't have. You understand that the joy is in the transition, that's the part that most people get stuck on. You understand that when you go through change, there is beauty on the other side of it. We are fearful of it because we don't know what's on the other side of it, but you have that ace up your sleeve to know that it's going to be better on the other side. Another tool that I like to use is what I call the daily tallies. This is very simple. Take one step forward daily. Then when you're in your journaling time, this can be very short, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever it is, just have a pen and paper and make a tally. Make one line. If you did something to take a step closer towards the person you aspire to be, the person you were created to be, the person who's getting through the change, transforming metamorphosis through the change, make a tally that day. So you can track this. You can go back and look 6 months, a year, 2 years, and how many steps forward you took. Because it's hard to track the transition. But the beauty is in embracing that transition, the metamorphosis. We're playing a win-win game. Most people are going to fear change. They will not take action because they fear change. Don't let that be you. You do not have to run the same race as everybody else. Transition, metamorphosis, take bold, strategic action, and you will always be successful. You know you are growing. You know you are changing. The other side of change is beautiful. Embrace the transition.